When it comes to Altissimo and saxophone, one of the hottest topics is always the effect that gear has on your ability to play those notes. So I'm going to do the hard work so you don't have to. I've got a bunch of mouthpieces, a bunch of different reeds, and let's find out how easy or hard it is to play those Altissimo notes with different setups. I'm using my Better Sax Tenor, which is like an affordable, mid-range, widely available tenor, so nothing special. And I'm going to start off with my vintage Otto Link Florida Link, which is an 8-tip opening with my usual reeds, which is my Boston Sax Shop Silver 3.5. Big shout out to Jack Tyler for these awesome reeds. So here we go. I'm just going to play octave Gs, a G scale, and then try for a screamer. So, pretty easy, pretty good. Let's change mouthpiece now, and I'm going to change to a Guardala, King Curtis Guardala, which you would think would be the ultimate screamy Altissimo mouthpiece. Let's check it out. That's interesting. So, two interesting things. I couldn't get my Altissimo A as easier as I could on the other mouthpiece. So this is one of the things I think we're going to discover. That different equipment gives you different issues on different notes. So, you know, that's one interesting observation. Second is I couldn't do the double G screamer, but I could do other dog whistle screamers. So that's interesting. And also, this mouthpiece made my reed feel really soft, even though it's a 3.5 and it's a brand new reed. Okay, let's now move on to something which more people would probably be playing, which is a middle of the road, slightly, you know, better than beginner mouthpiece, which is Jay's Better Sax Classic on tenor. Same reed for all these experiments so far. I'm going to change reeds, but so far all the same reed. So Better Sax Classic now. Okay, this is much more difficult to play Altissimo. No dog whistle available, really. And it took me a real struggle to get out the double G. No chance of the triple G, but the double G was a little bit more challenging to get out. Although, you know, weirdly, the Altissimo A came out much easier than on the Guardala, so go figure there. Let's now move on to what I anticipate being the hardest challenge, which is a Yamaha 4C, which is the standard issue beginner mouthpiece, which you would imagine would be the hardest to play Altissimo. Same reed, okay? Boston Sax Shop 3.5, let's try it. Right, that was really hard. This is the first one that I couldn't immediately go into to play an Altissimo G using my regular fingering. I had to kind of gliss up to it a bit. So I find it much more challenging to play Altissimo on the 4C, even with a 3.5 reed. Okay, so that covers a beginner's mouthpiece, a kind of an improver's mouthpiece, my regular mouthpiece, and a really poppy, bright, high baffle mouthpiece. Let's see what effect reeds have now, and then finally later on I'll just play my Mark 6 and see if any of this is easier with the Mark 6. Hey, by the way, I'm working on a new course. It's going to be called Altissimo Mastery. Hopefully it will be out by the end of the year, so watch out for that. That's going to be the most comprehensive online course that you've ever seen on saxophone Altissimo, I promise you. But in the meantime, to keep you going, go and check out my free Saxophone Success Masterclass. It's a whole hour of awesome stuff, which is really going to transform your playing instantaneously. Okay, you can just fill in your email using the link in the description or the link you can see on screen. And It's all yours. Okay, back to the Altissimo stuff. So we've been through a variety of mouthpieces. We had my original Link, which was easy. We had the Guardala King Curtis, which was easy. We had the middle of the road Better SAX Classic, which was more challenging but still doable. And then the hardest of all was the Yamaha 4C. And that was all with my 3.5 Boston SAX shot reed. Now, let's see what difference a reed makes. What a difference a reed makes. So I've got a number 5 reed. So for the moment, I'm just going to stick with my regular 8-tip opening vintage Link and the Better Tenor. Let's see what a number 5 reed sounds like trying to do Altissimo. Here we go. Pretty easy. A little bit unstable here and there. This is a Vandoren 5. But yeah, obviously much easier. Let's contrast that with a much softer reed. Let me go down to a 1.5. Okay, that was very surprising because using that 1.5 reed, I could still get the regular Altissimo first octave. I just couldn't get the dog whistles. That's the only compromise, but that was really surprising. Right, let's now get to something that many of you may play, which is a Legere signature 2.75, kind of middle of the road, and let's see if the synthetic reed makes a difference. Right, no dog whistles, but I could quite easily get the first Altissimo octave on this 2.75 Legere using my 8 mouthpiece. It's probably an 8-star actually. Now then, let's contrast that with the same variety of reeds, but with, let's just jump straight to the hardest mouthpiece. Let's go to the Yamaha 4C. And I'm imagining that the 1.5 with the 4C will be almost impossible, but it'll be interesting to see what it sounds like with the number 5 reed. But let's jump in with the Yamaha 4C and a 1.5 reed, like really beginnery setup. So that's really hard. Very, very difficult to get the Altissimo. And it's only because I know how to do Altissimo that I could do it. If I was a complete beginner and I was trying to do Altissimo with a 4C and a 1.5 reed, I would find that very, very difficult. Right, let's jump, shall we, straight to the number 5 reed and see if that makes a difference on the 4C. Okay, so there you go. That made the Altissimo much, much easier. In fact, you know, relatively easy, I would say. Even with the 4C mouthpiece, the harder reed does make it much easier, although I couldn't quite get the full-on, you know, dog whistles. Let's quickly try the Legere 2.75, because this is a setup that many people might have. Yamaha 4C, Legere Signature 2.75, maybe 2.25, but I haven't got one of them. Let's try the 2.75. All right, no dog whistles, but I could still get up to the double G using a 2.75 Legere, even on a Yamaha 4C mouthpiece, but I wouldn't say it's particularly easy by any means. So what are the conclusions? Well, the conclusions are that gear does matter. Now, a harder reed will make Altissimo easier. A wider tip opening will make Altissimo easier. And you can do Altissimo on both cane and synthetic, but they both have their little foibles. Now, is it impossible to play Altissimo with a 1.5 reed and a 4C mouthpiece? It's very difficult, but it's not impossible. And although I couldn't get the double G, I could, let's not forget, play up to Altissimo D or E, relatively easily. But if you're a beginner or an intermediate player and you're trying to learn how to do Altissimo and you're constantly frustrated, just remember that experimenting with gear might make a difference. Like, get yourself a stunt reed, get a hard reed. And once you've learned that you can do it and what you do inside your vocal tract, because this is one of the most important things to remember about this whole topic. Gear does make a big difference, but really the magic all happens inside here, inside your oral cavity and inside your vocal tract. That is how you create Altissimo notes, not just by using the right fingerings, but a sort of Altissimo conducive setup can help you get there. And then when you move back to your regular setup, you might be able to find a way to get those notes out. So, final conclusion, does gear matter when it comes to Altissimo? The jury says yes. So thanks for watching. Watch out for Altissimo Mastery later this year. In the meantime, make sure that you practice hard, practice smart, and enjoy your music. And I forgot to say about the Inner Circle membership. Go and check that out. The link is there, and you can see the link on screen. There's a bonus video, as well as a million other awesome things which are inside the ICM. I better do the catchphrase again. Practice hard, practice smart. Enjoy your music. Take it easy, guys. When it comes to Altissimo on saxophone, one of the hottest, itchy. So today I'm just going to do today I'm just going to die quietly.